So this weekend, UFC Fight Night, Covington versus Woodley, September 19. We've got Khamzat Chimaev versus Gerald Meerschaert, the fight just before the co-main event. It's a big fight. Khamzat's a huge favourite, I think minus 500. Gerald, even though he's more experienced, more seasoned, had I think like 44 fights or something compared to Khamzat's 8-0, 2-0 in the UFC. So it's a big fight, and Gerald's coming in with interviews like, look, this guy's not getting past me, because they're saying Khamzat Chimaev, if he beats Gerald Meerschaert at middleweight, he's going to drop to welterweight and he's going to fight Maya at number 7. And you know, Gerald's like, look, you're looking past me. I'm going to make sure, even if you do meet me, you're not going to be able to fight for 6 months or something, you know? So it's looking like a good fight. Everyone's hyped for it. Some people are saying Khamzat's going to be the next champ. You know, I think we got some time to see, but it's definitely a big one, and he's got some potential, you know. 192 strikes to 2 in his last 2 fights. Fought twice in 10 days, not afraid to middleweight and welterweight. He's showing something new, you know. But yeah, so starting off with Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev, he came in at 6-0, originally from Chechnya. He said he's been wrestling since he's 5 years old. He's got like a Habib-style wrestling, you know, the Dagestani, the Caucasus Mountains, the Chechnyan type of wrestling. He said he's been wrestling since he's 5 years old. He moved to Sweden at, I can't remember what age, but he moved to Sweden and he got the freestyle middleweight and welterweight championships champion. He won the championships in both middleweight and freestyle, middleweight and welterweight freestyle championships in Sweden. It's not a big thing, it's just Sweden nationals, I know, but you know, he's showing potential, and he spars with Alex Gustafsson. He spars with a lot of heavyweights. He's a big guy. So he came in 6-0, Fight Island. He fought short notice middleweight John Phillips. Now John Phillips is nowhere near the highest level of rankings, you know, he's really low. But he was coming off a win, John Phillips. Anyways, I heard John Phillips had a bad weight cut. There was some rumours about that. But yeah, Khamzat came in, second round, finished him by DAS. Before that, it was just a hammering. It was a mauling against the fence. He picked him up. It was a head kick, takedown, took him to the corner, mauled him, and he was hitting him with the unprotected knuckles, the ones just there, you know, the ones, the lower knuckles, whatever you call them. So he was peppering him a lot. Not too heavy shots, but he was hitting a lot of them, high volume. And he ended up finishing by second round DAS. Then 10 days later, he's like, look, I want to fight another time. He went to welterweight. He fought Rhys McKee. Rhys McKee is a lightweight previously. He moved up to welterweight from, I can't remember what promotion he came out of. I think it was the Cage Warriors. He came out of another promotion. He was a lightweight before. He moved up to welterweight. And Khamzat's really a natural middleweight. So him being Rhys McKee, although impressive it was, you know, he destroyed him. I think Rhys McKee didn't land a single strike, and Khamzat landed like 60 or something like that. I don't know how many he landed. Yeah, so it was a big, even though the opponent's not the best, he did show a lot in it. He showed, you know, I have explosive wrestling. I'm highly active on the ground. He's not just sitting there laying and praying, you know. And he's showing good stand-up as well in the fights, before and after the UFC. Not before and after. Before the UFC and when he's in the UFC. Anyways, so yeah, between those 2 fights, he landed 192 to 2 strikes. And that's a big thing, you know. Even though the competition is nowhere near Gerald Meerschaert level or Damian Maia level, it's still a big thing. 192 strikes to 2 in the UFC. It's a big thing. In the lower competition, yes, but he showed he's active on the ground. He can wrestle. He can stand. You know, he threw a head kick and quick down into a double leg, took him to the corner. He's got good ground control. Now, I know, then again, he has just got his blue belt in Jiu-Jitsu. We'll talk about that later, actually. He showed a lot of finishing ability. He's got 8-0, 2 fights in the UFC, 6 before that. He's 100% finish rate. He's finished all his fights. He's actually got 2 DASes, one in the UFC, one before it. He's got knockouts. He's got submissions. He can do everything, you know. He hasn't looked in too much trouble in his fights. He fought. Now, there's one opponent they both fought, Gerald Meerschaert and Khamzat Chimaev, and that is Sidney Wheeler. They both fought him out of the UFC. Sidney Wheeler came in and against his fight against Khamzat, and he threw a big heavy 1-2, but he backed up Chimaev a bit. Chimaev went down for the double leg. He missed it, so he got the body lock, picked him down, took him, slammed him, and finished him again in like another 40 seconds after that. So first round finished there. Then you got Meerschaert. Meerschaert finished Sidney Wheeler also first round, but it was by Kimura, I think in like a minute and a half in. So there's not much to say when you're comparing similar opponents. They both fought only one guy, and they both finished him in the first round. One by submission, one by, I think it was knockout. TKO against Sidney Wheeler, Khamzat Chimaev, if I'm correct about that. Ikram Alaskarov was another guy Khamzat fought, and when Khamzat fought him, Khamzat won the fight by first round finish, but he was swinging heavy shots, and he was winging some of them, and he was missing some of them, and he was getting some of his takedown stuff. Now it was just the first round, yes, and obviously everyone's fresh in the first round, but he was getting some takedown stuff against a really low opponent compared to, some UFC high level guys that he would have to fight in the future. Gerald Meerschaert is, at least above the level of what he's fought on before. So he did finish that guy by knockout in the first round, but he was have to wing the shots and he was getting takedown stuff. So that's the thing to say, But overall, he hasn't seen much resistance in his 8 fights. He's pretty much overcome everyone, 100% finish rate, and he's been showing all types of finish. He is quite reckless though. He's quite reckless. He goes in, throws a head kick or something, goes for a takedown, tries to take him to the corner. He's quite predictable, and he's not really smart. And some people compare him to Khabib. Then again, Khabib was in his earlier UFC fights quite reckless. He used to swing shots and just go recklessly into the takedowns. And obviously, he's developed a lot from then. And Khamzat could develop, but I think they're pushing him a bit too fast for that. He needs to develop. He's quite reckless, and if he keeps going in like that, I think one day maybe someone could catch him with a knee, and like Ben Askren style, and he's out because he is quite reckless. Another thing about Khamzat, in his fight against Reece McKee, it lasted I think 1 or 2 minutes. The fight, 2 minutes, I think the fight lasted. And just after the post-fight interview, he was gassed. He was like, "Yeah, I smashed everybody. Yeah," and he was gassed out. Yeah. I know he was fighting the whole 2 minutes. He was active, just throwing shots. And I know that. He was quite explosive. He was quite active. But it was only a minute and a half. And he was gassed out. He could barely speak. If someone like Gerald Meerschaert or someone above level, Maya or whoever he's going to fight after, if he fights them and they weather the storm and they stuff the takedowns and they last past that first 2-3 minutes, they take the shots, it's more likely to happen at middleweight because at welterweight, he's got the size advantage. But someone like Gerald Meerschaert at middleweight, if he doesn't finish him in the first 2-3 minutes, what if he gasses out? And now he's tired, he's got arms full of blood, and then they submit him on the floor, or the fight, or he has to stand back up and he has got no energy and he gets knocked out. And for now it's 3-round fights, but the way they're pushing him, he's going to get 5-round main events soon. In the next 2-3 fights, if he wins them, can he last 5 rounds at the pace he's throwing? Because it seems like right now, because he's undefeated, he's got 100% finish rate, he seems maybe he's overconfident in his abilities. And if he fights higher level guys who weather the storm, who stuff his takedowns early, and can he last after that with the cardio? Because we don't know how, if he's not, Gerald Meerschaert said it, he said, if Khamzat does well, if the fight's going his way. Now, if it's not going his way, Gerald Meerschaert said, look, I can fight from all positions, I can submit, I've got finishes here, there. And we've not seen Khamzat like that. Then again, we don't know anything about Khamzat. We know he's a beast. He can maul. He can smash all that. Yeah, but we've never seen the opponents. We've never seen the competition. We've never seen adversity really. So we don't really know about that. How his pace, if he can keep that pace. Obviously, no one can keep that pace up that he was doing for 5 rounds. Everyone needs a break. So we don't know what's going to happen if he gets to higher level, and that's what we're interested in seeing. Gerald Meerschaert's like a stepping stone. I think that's what the UFC's given him. So let's go on to Gerald Meerschaert. Onto Gerald Meerschaert. Gerald Meerschaert has obviously fought high-level opponents than Khamzat. Now, in those opponents, Gerald Meerschaert is 31-13, 6-5 in the UFC. Now, that's not a great record, but he's obviously fought much high-level opponents than Khamzat. And of course, they fought the mutual opponent, Sid Wheeler, which you said before. Now, Gerald Meerschaert has a high-level jiu-jitsu. He's black belt jiu-jitsu, and he's got good kickboxing. Yeah, he's had a lot of submissions. He's had 31 wins and 23 of them by submission. But then again, and a lot of people saying that, then again, he's also had 8 losses by submission. So his most losses are by submission, and his most wins are by submission. So either way, that could go on. But Khamzat Chimaev just got his blue belt like a couple of weeks ago, so he's not really the best submitter. He has submitted before. He's got 2 losses, which is quite sick, and he's got a rear naked choke as well. So he's obviously can with black belt, all that. It doesn't really mean anything, Jiu-jitsu, everyone has a black belt these days, and in the MMA, it's about what you can do. You can be the best wrestler or the best jiu-jitsu guy. It's how you mix it up in MMA. Now, despite that, his jiu-jitsu defense might need to come in hand against Gerald Meerschaert. Gerald Meerschaert is very crafty on the ground, and Maya as well, which they're saying after. But let's not look past Meerschaert. Meerschaert is good on the ground, 23 submissions. But then again, he is 6-5 in the UFC. That's not a great record for UFC level opponents. So, yeah, there are some times, like a couple times, Khamzat Chimaev, for example, when he fought a guy called, I think, Marco Kisic, I don't know how you pronounce it, K-I-S-I-C, Marco K-I-S-I-C. He was fighting him, and there was a point where Khamzat was standing up and the guy was on the ground, and the guy kind of caught Khamzat into a kind of triangle kind of thing, but Khamzat slipped out of it. It was because Khamzat was being quite reckless. Now against someone like Gerald Meerschaert, they can take advantage of that and submit you, so he needs to be careful about that kind of thing. Now, I'm going to take my chances with this fight. We don't know much about Khamzat. I don't know. All I know is that he's reckless. He's got good knockout power. We've seen him knock out guys before the UFC. We've seen him submit guys. We've seen him dance guys. He's got everything. You know, he looks like when Khabib joined the UFC, he had the wrestling, but he had no. His jiu-jitsu was there. It was all right. His stand-up was crazy. It was wild. It was like, it just looked terrible. Khamzat has got potential. He's got a lot of power, relative power for his divisions. He's got strength. He's got size, especially at welterweight. He's got size, and without even a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, he's got submissions. Yeah, and he's got the mauling, the smash. Yeah, of course. So he's there, and he's got his confidence. He's got his abilities. He's undefeated and all that. So he's got a good mind coming into this. Yeah, Gerald's also got a good mind coming into this. He's like, look, this guy's not getting past me. They're looking past me. They wanted me to beat him. They want him to beat me and then fight Maia number 7 and then maybe Woodley and get a title shot or something. They were trying to push him fast, and I'm not taking this disrespect. I'm gonna beat him up. Even if he beats me, I'm gonna make sure he's carried out of that octagon. Yeah, he's not beating me. So Gerald's coming in with a good mind as well. Now that could make him reckless, and that could make Khamzat could be overconfident as well. We don't know. We don't know enough about Khamzat to say anything. But based on his previous fights, I'm gonna say that Khamzat gets it done by second round TKO. Now he could easily get submitted, and I think that as the fights go on, I'm curious to see even in the 5 round how this fight would go if Khamzat doesn't finish it because of his cardio. That's the main issues I see with Khamzat right now, is his recklessness and his cardio, his pace. If he can muster that, because that pace against a higher level guy who weathers the storm, can he carry it on? Or maybe he can do it against all the high level guys. He can just finish them all. We never know. We don't know yet. So Gerald's a good test for that. And I'm going to say second round finish by Khamzat by TKO. But I think if it goes to the 3rd round, I'm interested in seeing that, because I think maybe if Khamzat's tired by the 3rd round, I don't think he's even hit the 3rd round before. If he gets to the 3rd round, maybe he's gassed and he gets submitted. We don't know. And I'm not surprised if that happens. But I'm going to take my chances, and I'm going to say second round TKO by Khamzat. And this fight's a good test. If he does win this fight, and with fashion, I'm probably going to pick him against Maia. I'm going to say he's going to win by Maia. I think he can submit Maia or knock him out in the 1st round. Because remember, Maia hasn't got the stand-up at all. We saw him against Ben Askren. And he's old as well, so that jiu-jitsu, he's good. But, Khamzat's coming with the new strength, the new vigor. Maia's coming off a knockout loss. But besides that, Gerald Meerschaert loses, I think, second round TKO, but he could submit him in the later rounds, in the late 2nd or the 3rd. I think though, second round TKO or submission. You never know. He might submit, Gerald Meerschaert. He's got 8 submission losses, Gerald Meerschaert, so he couldn't be submitted as well. He's not like a submission guy that never gets submitted. We never know. But I'm going to say second round TKO stoppage by Khamzat Chimaev.